going out there, everybody? So here we are with our first video on the road to jazz drumming, and what the first video here is going to be about warming up before I start practicing, when I'm especially when I'm in our practice regimen. But even like before I start playing, I kind of have a warm up that I do to kind of wake my hands up, and so I'm going to go over that first before we get into actual the practice exercises, because this is kind of something that we're going to be doing in the beginning of practice, regardless. And it doesn't take very long, but it's pretty good stuff to help wake you up. And so yeah. So anyway, essentially we're going to be working out with 4 rudiments. 3 of them, it's funny because I told you I was on the Rob Brown kick, and I was watching one of his videos on the 3 essential rudiments that every drummer should know, and I wholeheartedly agree with him, except I have a 4th. And what it was paradiddles. Well, in order, it would have been single stroke rolls, double stroke rolls, and paradiddles. And it's like you said, those 3 rudiments, those 3, and it's kind of like pretty much all you need to drum with. It doesn't mean you shouldn't learn the other ones or go further, but it just speaking plainly. But now, I do a 4th one. I actually add a 4th one to that structure, and I think that it should be in there. And that's the triple stroke roll. So when I warm up, I do all 4 of those rudiments. And the triple stroke, it's crazy because a triple stroke roll is one of those rudiments that, without realizing it, it's going to help you get better on your double strokes. So even if you got some weak doubles, sometimes working on triples it helped me a little bit. And we're going to examine some muscle memory stuff today too, because it's like I said, I haven't done much practice in a long time. I just went through a bad tragedy, and I hadn't even drummed for over 6 months. I didn't even really pick up the sticks, maybe a couple times for 5 minutes or something playing around, but not even, definitely not behind the kit and not doing anything productive. But around August time, I was just picking up triple strokes pretty good. And it's funny because a couple weeks ago, when I started kind of getting more into thinking of a practice mode, I was kind of where I was like, man, I'm going to have to learn my triple strokes all over again. And I do a little bit, but it's crazy how the muscle memory in the body works, because even after all that time of not doing them, my fingers still kind of remembered the motion of it to a point. And we're going to go to the pad here in a little bit, so we'll see. The proof will be in the pudding. But yeah, like I said, so for me, when I warm up, I try to do those 4 rudiments, and I have my own little way that I do them. So we're actually going to get ready. We're going to get ready and move on to that right now. And I'll see you here again in a few seconds when I switch the camera around. We'll put the camera over on the practice pad. Alrighty, bye-bye. So for this exercise, we're going to be starting out for the first part at 120 beats per minute, and we're going to try to run about 12 bars of single stroke rolls, 12 bars of double strokes, and then 20 bars of paradiddles. Then about maybe 10 bars of triple stroke rolls, and from there, we're just going to kind of mix it up and do a few bars of each here and there, mixing the triple strokes right in between the 16th notes. Okay, so now as you can see after that first part, it was a little shaky, different areas here and there. Like I said, this is a warm up, the first movements of the day, so things are going to be a little stiff here and there. That's one of the reasons why you start shifting it around at the end, because as you start moving things around after only a couple bars each, your fingers, that's when you can tell when your fingers have begun to adjust a little. So now we're going to up it to 132 beats a minute, and we're going to do basically the same thing, except we're going to end it with the triple strokes and not bounce everything around. Up here. That was a condensed version of the warm up. Normally, I would be doing the first part at 120 beats per minute, 60 bars of single stroke, 60 bars double stroke, 80 bars of paradiddle, and then about 80 to 100 bars of triple stroke. I wouldn't bounce it around at the end of my typical warm up because there's another exercise that I do that covers that. And then when I bump it up to 132 beats per minute, I would shoot it down to like 40 bars of single strokes, 40 bars double strokes, and 70 bars of paradiddles. But I would still keep the triple strokes at about 80 to 100 bars. And that's about it. I would do some pretty extensive stretching with my fingers and stuff beforehand, the whole shebang. And on top of that, I would take about a 5 minute break in between the two parts, the 120 beats to 132, and kind of shake my hands out a little bit while that break was happening. And something else I didn't mention, but I wanted to put in there too, is I usually try to, and it's a very good practice to be doing the same routine on your feet. I can't get it as fast on my feet right now, but I had it. Was getting speeds were moving up. Right now, I'm going to be starting it back out at about 100 beats per minute and bumping it up to 110 for the second portion. But yeah, so the whole warm up routine takes about maybe 15 minutes. If you're not doing the feet take about an extra 10 minutes to do. And that's about it. That's a pretty good way to make sure that everything's woken up and ready for you to start really practicing and moving. And it's good practice in itself. I mean, that's part of your regimen, but that's a good good way to start things off. And you can up and down some of that depending on how large of a chunk your practice schedule is. I mean, like if you're doing nothing, that's kind of a good daily exercise just to get a good 15, 20 minutes of workout in, or 3 times a week or whatever. But it's also a good start to a larger regimen of more like an hour or two practice block. But so there you go, and have a good day, and we'll be back pretty soon with the first actual lesson. Like I said, I didn't want to really do too much lesson stuff this time. I just wanted to cover the warm-ups, and then we'll move on to the meat of the stuff in the next video. So thank you, and have a good day. Bye bye.